Hi, I'm Tiffany Young. I'm a realtor and principal at Treasure Coast Realty Group here in Fort Pierce. Do you think that purchasing a home is out of your reach? How do you know? You may be closer to home ownership than you think. I'm going to give you 7 steps to help you navigate the home buying process. The first step is to know where you stand. Most people have no idea what's on their credit report. It's so important that you take the time to pull your report and see what's on there. There may be some things that don't belong to you. You may have some outstanding debt that you need to take care of. Maybe there are some collections. Going to annualreport.com, take the time, pull your credit report, not just for the score, but to see what's on it. The next step are your savings. How much savings do you have? Create a budget. Write down everything that you spend money on a monthly basis. Consider your lifestyle. Do you like to go out to movies? Do you travel a lot? Is entertainment a big part of your life? Do you have childcare that you need to consider every month? In a lot of cases, the lender will not consider all of these items when they give you a pre-approval. So it's important for you to know how much you want to spend every month. You need to save for a down payment. Down payment in most cases can be anywhere from 3 to 20%. Unless you're paying cash, and then you will be putting 100% down. And also you have to save for closing costs. Closing costs range from state to state, so that's something that your lender will tell you what you need. So the next step is to work with a real estate professional. Maybe you know someone that has their real estate license. Maybe it's a referral from a family friend. Maybe it's someone that you found online. But it's so important that you vet the person that you are hiring to represent one of the biggest sales in your life. So in order to do this, we feel that there's a sequence of questions that you should ask them. Watch my next video for the details on the questions that you should ask a real estate professional before hiring them. So the next step is to get pre-approved. This can be done by a mortgage lender or a banker. It is recommended that you get more than one pre-approval. So let me explain the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification. Pre-qualification is when you call up a banker or a lender and they let you know how much you qualify for based on the information that you give them over the phone. A pre-approval is a little more extensive. This is where you provide all of your documents that you collected earlier. Documentation can include tax returns, W-2s, pay stubs. This is how you know exactly how much house you can afford. So now you have your pre-approval in hand. You've selected the lender that you feel gave you the best terms. So the next step is the home search. So this is where you sit with your realtor to discover exactly what it is that you need. The area that you're going to live in, the type of home that you're going to buy, and exactly how much you're going to spend. So you're searching for a home, and during the home search process, don't be afraid to make a decision. The first home you see may be the home that you love. So you found the perfect home. The next step is making an offer. So before making an offer, your realtor will sit with you to determine the value of the home. A CMA, which is a comparative market analysis, is done to determine what homes have sold for in the area that you're buying. Once the CMA is done, your realtor will sit with you and you will come up with the best price to offer the seller for that home. So the contract's drawn up, the terms are stated, and you sign the offer. So your realtor will present the offer to the seller's realtor. There's a timeline for this process to occur. A few things can happen. The seller can accept the offer or they can counteroffer. If the seller counteroffers, don't be afraid to negotiate. So the next step are inspections and appraisals. So let me tell you a little bit about inspections. Never skip the home inspection. This is where you find out all of the things that are going on in the home, whether there's a leaky roof, whether there's something going on with the plumbing. Never skip the inspection. And this is where you can negotiate the price based on the inspection report. So the inspections are done. The next step is the appraisal. This is ordered by the bank, so you don't have to worry about that. This is where the bank determines if the home meets the value of the selling price. If the bank comes back and says that the home does not appraise for the price that you're under contract for, this is where you can negotiate with the seller to have the price reduced to meet the appraised value. So now the home is appraised and you've received a clear title from the title company. The next step is closing. But before you get to the closing table, your lender will send you a Truth in Lending Act. And in this document, it details things like purchase price, the term of the loan, the interest rate. And this is something that you review in advance prior to getting to the closing table. But before you get to the closing table, Now it's time to do the final walkthrough. This is done the day of or the day before closing. This will determine if everything that's agreed for in the contract is present in the home before you sign the final document. So now you're at the closing table. You've gone through the walkthrough, you did the inspections, you got pre-approved, not to mention that trip you missed to the Bahamas. But now you're here because you're a homeowner, and tonight you'll be spending the night in your new home. So stay tuned for my next video on tips, tricks, and what to do before and after you close on your new home.